Hello everyone, my name is Nachiketa and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about whether it was worth spending around 1 crore on my master's degree in the US. In my last video, I talked about how I got an admit into CMU to pursue my master's in information systems. Right now, I've completed my first semester, which is the fall semester, and I'm going to give you an analysis of how much money I've spent. Do I feel the return on investment was worth it, both financially and in other terms, and what are all the costs that you have to bear, right? So it's not just financial costs, there are a lot of other things that you have to invest in your master's degree. And since this is the time when most of you are gonna be applying for your master's program for the next fall semester, or have probably got admits, I'm gonna give you some pointers that you should consider, which is gonna help you understand if your master's degree is actually gonna be worth the money you're gonna be spending, because you're gonna be spending a lot and you could have easily got a master's degree in India for less than 1/5 of the price, right? So let's talk about the costs. So my tuition fees at Carnegie Mellon University is $27,000 for each semester, and for the entire program, which is for 16 months and 3 semesters long, the cost comes around $80,000, which is around 68 lakhs in INR. And other than that, you have your rent expenses, you have your health insurance, you spend money in traveling, and you can more or less expect to be spending around 80 lakhs to 1 crore for your master's program. The expense can be even more if you are located in more expensive cities like, let's say, New York or Bay Area. For me, since my college is in Pittsburgh, the rent is at least relatively cheaper, so the cost is comparatively less. But the point is, you're going to be spending lots of money and you have to decide whether it's going to be worth it or not. So personally, for me, I have taken out a loan to cover my entire tuition expenses of around $80,000. And for the other expenses, I have some savings from my work experience of 2 years, and my parents are sponsoring me for that as well. So now this is just the financial cost that I've talked about. Other than that, you pay costs in terms of the struggle you face, right? There is a lot of stress which you go through in a master's program. You have to balance not just your academic work, but you have to take care of your house as well. You have to clean your house, you have to cook your own food, you have to balance your social life, you're gonna be homesick a lot of times. So all of these are also additional costs, emotional costs that you're gonna be paying. Is it worth it or not? For me, the short answer is yes. But for everyone, the answer could be different. So now that I've talked about the costs, let's talk about what I'm getting back in return. So first thing is the academic experience. Let's talk about that. So the academic experience in the US is pretty good. If you go to a top university in the US, you are gonna learn a lot in each of your courses. Courses in US are very assignment based, meaning throughout the semester you're gonna be bombarded with assignments, and that's where most of your learning is gonna come from. The professors in general are really good, and of course there are gonna be some professors which are not good in every university in wherever you go to. But on an average, you can expect good professors who are really invested into teaching. You have office hours, you have teaching assistants you can go to for doubts, and you can be assured that if you complete a course in your master's program, you will be very proficient in it on an average. But now, this academic experience is not enough to justify the cost. Even if you are in India or even if you're anywhere else, just by self-study, you can learn the same material. You have everything online these days. Even professors of Stanford, CMU, Harvard, they make their lectures available online. When I was learning artificial intelligence, I was able to access most of the deep learning courses taught at Stanford on YouTube and learn that. So you can get access to learning content, the same content online as well. What makes it different is that it's a cohort based learning. You're learning it with friends, you're learning it with peers, and it's more likely to keep you engaged. It's a more hands-on because you're gonna solve assignments, you're gonna give exams. Whereas if you're doing self-study, there are chances that you might lose focus, you might lose interest and drop. So chances of succeeding is higher, but it's possible through self-study as well. So now that said, that academic experience alone is not good enough to justify the cost. So what is? The next thing that you get out of it is the network and exposure. Now the entire culture of getting jobs in the US is very networking oriented. So the chances of you getting a good job is really dependent on how good of a network you have. So in India, like you have campus placements, that concept does not exist here. You at best you will have career fairs, you'll have networking events where you'll meet different employers. You're expected to talk to them, build a connection with them, in the hopes that in the future that you can get a referral from them, or if you're in the network, you're connected on LinkedIn, you're able to see the different jobs or postings that they might have which you can apply for. So it's very networking oriented, but coming to a top college ensures that you automatically have a good connect. So all of the peers that you're working with are gonna go on to work in good companies. Your alumni are more likely well placed, and top companies are gonna come to your college at least for careers fairs, which gives you an access to them as well. So you are able to create a good network, and of course coming to the US, coming for your masters gives you exposure. You meet people from all around the world, and even though the program I am in has around like 70 to 80% just Indians and Chinese people, but it still gives you exposure of working with people from around the world. Even as you interact with people from other programs, you interact with people for different projects. It is a good experience overall. Now finally, let's talk about the financial return on investment. For my particular program at CMU for the Masters in Information Systems, the average salary of graduates is around $115,000, and most 70% students get placed in packages between 100 to 150 US dollars. So within 2 years, you should be able to pay back your loans. Additionally, you'll be working for internships, you'll be working for part-time jobs in your college, which allows you to make additional money, which help you take care of your living expenses as well. But now when calculating the ROI, you have to consider the best and worst case scenarios as well. I personally am prepared for the worst case scenario that one, let's say I don't get an H1B visa. So I work for 3 years, pay back my loan, come back to India. That scenario is also pretty good, because once you have a US degree from a good college, you will get a good placement in India or whatever home country you're from, and you're gonna still make good money. You still have a good brand on your resume. The learnings that you've got from your college experience is not gonna stay with you, so it's still worth it. If I consider even a worse scenario than that, let's say you come to the US for your masters and you don't get a job at all and you have to go back to your country. I have considered that scenario as well, and even that scenario for me is not bad, because I still have CMU's brand on my resume. I have learned a lot. It will take me longer to pay back my loan. Let's say it might take anywhere between 4 to 6 years, but I'll be having additional sources of income in India, right? I'll have a main job, I'll be working as a content creator, I can create passive sources of income. In the US, I can only have one source of income, which is my main job. In India, you have a lot of flexibility, or in your home country, you'll have a lot of flexibility on the different ways with which you can make money. So for me, financially, it's a good return on investment. Given the learnings, given the brand I'm going to get my resume, it's good overall. But you should consider that. So the factors which I've considered, you should consider that for yourself as well. So finally, if I have to conclude and list the points that you should consider when calculating your ROI, making a decision whether you should come here or not, look at the university ranking. How good is it? Do not settle with any lower ranked university just to get your master's degree, because that's not going to get you a good brand on your resume. That's not going to give you a good network. That might not even give you a good academic experience, and might not even give you a good job. But if your main goal is just to come into the US, then you can select lower ranked universities as well. If making money, getting a good brand and a good network is your priority, then you should opt for a higher ranked university only. Second, see if you're going for a STEM based degree or not. STEM based degrees pay higher, and even without an H1B visa, you can work for up to 3 years, which is ample time to pay back your loans and get a good working exposure in the US economy as well. So that's all for this video. I'm gonna make a lot more content about masters. If there's anything specific you want to know about my master's experience at CMU, do let me know in the comments. I'm gonna try to be more active. I'm planning on making some vlogs when I get back into the US. I'm here back in India for a couple of weeks, but I'll try to make vlogs, record the life of a master's student, show you around the city I'm living in. Although I find vlogging very hard, I don't know how people manage to walk around with the camera talking into it. It feels so awkward to me, but I'll try to do that. Other than that, if there's anything else you want to see, do let me know and leave that in the comments, and I'll see you again in the next video.